Hallelujah. I'm going to see the King. Oh Lord, I'm going to see the King. Oh Lord, I'm going to see the King. Oh, I'm going to see the King. I'm marching every day.
Join the presiding moderator, Dr. Walter L. Glover Jr., and the Greater Zion Hill Visionary Baptist Church at their new time, 9:15 a.m. until 10:15 a.m. every Sunday morning on The Glory, 980 a.m. WDDO. The moderator invites you to join them this coming Sunday at 9:15 a.m. Middle Georgia, WDDO 980 AM is proud to welcome NAACP President Gwinnett Middlebrooks and Vice President Willie Dumas for their weekly broadcast every Monday from 4 until 5 p.m. on The Glory, 980 AM WDDO. Middle Georgia now has a wedding chapel available to serve you. Do you have a small ministry looking for a place to conduct service? The Glory Chapel of Cherokee Heights Historical District can accommodate you with conference, church meetings and concerts, christening and small banquets and baby showers, and many other events you're looking to have are available. Are you looking to have a wedding or just get married? They offer 24 hours a day and 7-day-a-week wedding services. Call her today, Dr. Dallas Anderson, at 478-216-8122. That's 478-216-8122. While spots are still available, spots are filling up real fast. The prices are unbelievably reasonable. So call her today, Dr. Dallas Anderson, while spots are still available. Chaplain services are included in selected packages for weddings and marriages. 478-216-8122. That's 478-216-8122. The Glory Chapel of Cherokee Heights. Vertice Zero Zier is on the new 107.9 FM and 980 AM WDDO, The Glory.
Angels of Mercy has moved to 3085 Vineview Avenue. Do you or a loved one need assistance with personal care, light housekeeping, meal preparation, laundry, and bathing? Are you in the sandwich generation with aging parents, a family of your own and maintaining your career, caring for an elderly or disabled family member, and need a caregiver's break? Call Angels of Mercy Private Home Care, 478-745-5111, and let them send you an angel to assist you. They also do private duty sitting and medication reminder. They're dedicated to providing in-home care that enriches clients' livelihood to help them maintain the highest level for independent living. They accept VA benefits, long-term care insurance, private pay source, and CCSP benefits. Angels of Mercy Private Home Care provides in-home care services throughout Macon and Middle Georgia. Call now, 478-745-5111, or visit their new location at 3085 Vineview Avenue next to Walk-In Insurance, and let them send you an angel today. There's no place like home.
I've always wanted to be an attorney because I truly enjoy helping people. If you get hurt in an accident, please feel free to call me. I'd love the opportunity to try to help you. The Dozier Law Firm, we're here in your time of need.
You are here, moving in our midst. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, working in this place. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, turning lives around. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, mending every heart. I worship you. I worship Oh, waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You are here, touching every heart. We worship you, oh Lord. We worship you. You are here, and you're turning lives around. Thank you, Lord. We worship you. We worship you. You are the waymaker. Yeah. My God. Yeah. That is who you are. I know you are away. Promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God. Come on, all over this place, lift up your voice and say it again. You are a way maker, miracle worker. Light in the darkness, that is who you are. God, you are a way out of no way, promise keeper. Oh, my Lord, that is who you are. You are a way maker. You're my miracle worker, and you're light in the darkness, my Lord. That's who you are. That's who you are. You are a way maker. Yeah. Promise keeper. Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. That's who you are. Oh, God. We give you the glory, and we give you all the praise.
Connecting the community through gospel. The new 107.9 FM, W300EB, Macon, and WDDO 980 AM, Perry, Macon.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of the Glory 980 AM, the Glory Media Group, LLC, WDDO AM, its staff, management, or advertisers, but are the views and opinions of the participants of the broadcast.
Welcome to Backpage. Backpage, a new program that speaks to community folk issues and topics, discussions and solutions through both subjective Christian and spiritual interventions. Backpage is an open forum. And now, Backpage with Reverend Gregory Jackson.
Well, it looks like we got a lot of static, and get that corrected right quick, I guess. But welcome to Backpage. It's Wednesday night in Middle Georgia, and we're glad to have you here with us. Another good day, despite what may have come, despite how the week went and what have you. But it's a good day, and we are here again, and it's a blessing to be here, to be able to share with you. Let's pause for a quick second. Can't hear nothing here. Let's see. Test. Look. Okay, that's just come back just a little bit. Okay, go back up. Just a little bit, right there. Can you hear yourself on those?
Testing.
Okay, maybe it's just mine. Yeah.
But it's loud.
Yeah. Got it. Okay, that's what I was looking for. Okay, is that okay? You okay?
Okay, so let's get back to what I was saying. It's another good day here in Middle Georgia, and we welcome you to this place, to WDDO, The Glory 107.9 FM, 980 AM, and a host of social media from live streaming to Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Periscope, LinkedIn, Instagram, and of course with the live streaming. So you can join us on any one of those um, media outlets right there. And we're glad to have you here with us again. Tonight, we're continuing on with our health and wellness, our total health care series, so to speak. And, we said in the very beginning that we're starting a new year with the question of where do we go from here? And where we go is to do a lot of self improvements, to make ourselves better, to look after ourselves and do those things. So returning again, because we have so much to cover in the realms of total health. And if we had to break that down just a little bit, we could say, but we don't want to say that word. We don't want to say mental health, but it's total health because the mind controls. So, but have with us again, Dr. Deepti Bhasin, MD. She is here with us again. And we are so glad to have her here. It's always a privilege to have her. So good evening to you.
Thank you. And thank you for having me back. I'm excited. And here we are.
Here we are. Seems different tonight for some reason. It's like some. I don't know if it's just the sound in the air or whatever, but I was thinking to myself quite a bit here in the last week and a half. Today is a new day.
Today is a new day.
Today is a new day, and all those things that have been bad or caused us strife or stress or issues, they're gone. They're gone away.
And that's how we have to look every day as.
We do.
Right?
We do.
Every moment is a different moment, and you can't get stuck in the past
Mm-hmm.
and worry about past because you can't change it.
Exactly.
But and we don't want to lose today worrying about future.
Yeah, because we will lose. We'll lose today. We'll lose so much if we start worrying about today and carrying it over.
Absolutely.
With us. So
staying in present is one of the best things we can do for ourselves.
Well, that is powerful within itself. So it's where we need to be. But I am so glad to have you here again. It seems like this has been people have been. I need to send you that stuff too. But people have loved having you on. It's just the comments that have come up, and one of them, I had a comment that said, please let them know when you are back on again because they so enjoyed you.
That is so sweet and humbling. But, the goal for us is to educate and get the word out. And if people don't know what they don't know what to look for.
Exactly.
And so whenever you and I've talked about about the radio show or what we want to do, that's been your motive is in total health.
It is. From
brain to mind to, living situations to, your heart health, your lung health, everything.
And that's important. That is so important that we need to focus on that more critically. We shortchange ourselves a lot with that.
I think we get in day-to-day rut and forget us.
We do.
I mean, can you believe it's almost end of January
already? And I was sharing with someone. I said, "No, here in Georgia, this the temperature is so funny. The climate, it's so evolved. We go from so mild, then we go into a little bit of cold,
right?
Then we get some wet, then we get maybe a trace of snow, then it gets cold, and by February,
we're back.
And then once February comes, then it's December again.
Time is moving, which is we need to make the most out of it.
It does. We need to do that because we find ourselves rewarding ourselves even more.
Yes.
And becoming better people if we're allow ourselves to do that. So
better spiritually, better physically, better mentally. Yes, absolutely.
And all of those things are important too. We truly miss out because sometimes when the weight of the world, the weight of the day bogs us down with events or unpleasantries that might come, we still have to overcome. We still have to just move on. We have to move on and just look towards that new day because it's going to be something good regardless.
And what happened yesterday, you cannot carry that burden.
Exactly.
You have to
Exactly.
start the new day. So what are we talking about today?
I thought we were going to talk about autism. Are we going to talk about autism?
Yes,
Or,
I mean,
let me do this
you're
real
the
quick.
boss.
Okay. Let me do this right
Yes,
quick.
please.
I'm just sitting here. No boss. I'm just sitting
I'm
here.
just,
I know I'm just messing with you. But tell us a little bit more, because in case we have some other new listeners, tell us a little bit more about you.
so I am, my name is Deepti Bhasin. I am a physician. My specialty is psychiatry, particularly pediatric psychiatry and forensic psychiatry. I have a private practice both in Macon and Warner Robins. Our practice has several providers, including a therapist. It's a very busy practice. We are very fortunate to be busy, but also I feel like it is a very caring practice.
Yes. Yes.
And we see kids from age 0 to 99.
Right. So that's a good thing. I mean, just being able to do that. I'm looking at a text message that came in here.
Yeah, and then I'm a faculty at Mercer. I teach psychiatry residents and medical students. I do some forensic work and just a little bit of everything.
Wow. So that's quite a bit. It's quite a bit.
Keeps me challenged.
It does, and that's a really good thing for because if you're so able to divide yourself up so much to spend time and take care of family obligations and people as well. So it's a good thing.
Right, and bringing family, I think I have to say thank you to my family to be so open and flexible for me to be able to do what I want to do and have no, just be me.
Right, and have that support.
Yeah, just be here and not be with the kids or other, So I absolutely have to thank my parents, my husband, my kids, my in-laws. It's an amazing support system that I could not do without.
Wow,
it lets me do what I want to do and I love doing.
That's a wonderful thing when you're able to do that, because it always brings you back that same reward.
Right.
It really does.
And the gratitude and appreciating every moment.
Yeah, so it's a good thing. It really is. So what do we do? So we know who you are. We know where we are. We're here at the Glory 107.9, and we're going to delve into. We've been talking about youth and some of the concerns or problems that our youth have had and have ongoing. And in our conversation, we decided we were going to talk about autism.
All right. So
what is autism?
Autism is a neurodevelopmental disorder. And what that means is it is a brain, there's a defect or leading abnormality in your brain functioning, especially when it relates to emotions,
right,
learning, self-control, memory, social skills.
That's a big one.
That's a huge one.
Yeah.
Right? Flexibility in your interest and ability to communicate both verbally as well as non-verbally.
Right.
Remember, as human, it's not just what we say. It's also what we don't say.
Right.
Speaks way more louder. And so these are the kids who struggle with understanding what people don't say or say clearly, and get into these troubles and situations where they misread social clues and social situations, leading into very awkward situations where, depending on their age, depending on their grade, may be bullied or be isolated, be not invited for some birthday parties or not invited for social gathering because they seem to be odd and just not feel connected to each other.
Right.
Peers have a hard time connecting to them.
Right.
So when we're talking about neurodevelopmental disorder, this is not the only condition that is part of the neurodevelopmental disorders. There are multiple parts. So just autism has taken a life of its own. Part of it is the propaganda, the advertisement, but we also have to make sure that not every kid that has symptoms that look like autism are actually autistic kids.
Right. Right. Right.
And so, and that's where I think the evaluation and talking to your pediatrician and your experts are going to be very important. Some of the other examples of neurodevelopmental disorder could be fetal alcohol syndrome,
Right.
Down syndrome, right? You have neurotoxin, where you can have lead and mercury poisoning, or some radioactive stuff called PO, which is present in cigarettes,
Right.
may present and cause neurotubal damage, which results into the molecular level changes in your brain and leads to some of these behavioral issues and learning issues and communication issues.
Wow.
So again, I think we are very quick to say autism, but not everything that looks like autism is autism.
Right.
And the reason it's important is because treatment and diagnoses and prognosis are different for each condition.
Exactly. Wow. So that leaves some meat on the plate, or I guess we can say, or some food on the plate, to where we really need to look more critically at that too.
Right. And so again, I think it's also more acceptable to be having an autistic thing going rather than other stuff. It has less stigma attached because of how the social media has promulgated, and there are some, the way the society has taken the autism route.
Right.
But we cannot forget other important aspects of it too.
Okay, we got a phone call right quick. Hello, caller. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you, Reverend Jackson?
Good. Who am I speaking to?
This is Reverend Mabel.
That's what I thought. The sound is a little bit different tonight. So, good
Yeah. Well, listen.
You there?
I wanted to call in to first of all to tell the doctor how much we appreciate her coming, and how much we appreciate how she shares what she has learned. You can tell she has so much compassion for people. So I just want to say thank you. And then to talk about autism, one of the things that I have found with helping a friend with 2 foster kids with autism is that, I really thought that they didn't know me, that they wouldn't talk to me, that they just would just sit or just read.
Right.
But I found that when they needed something, they came and said, "Miss Randall, could you help me do so and so and so?" And I thought, wow, I had no idea. And one of the other things is that, they're very intelligent.
They can be very
intelligent. People really sometimes overlook the intelligence of autism children and adults.
Right.
Absolutely. And thank you for complimenting. I mean, that's sweet. And so thank you, Marble Randall. But you're right. When you're talking about autism, it's a spectrum of conditions. You can have as mild as just having problems communicating with somebody and reading body language, or what we call nonverbal communication. So I may be sitting with my arms crossed and crying. In a kid who has hard time reading my body language may think I'm sad, but I may be just frustrated.
Right.
And or just angry, or maybe sometimes even happy, because you can cry when you're happy. And so these kids have really hard time. So saying that just because we say somebody's autistic doesn't mean they cannot be intelligent and they cannot be normal functioning.
Right.
They can be like you and me.
Yeah, and I have seen that myself in some different age groups.
Right.
And then it hits close to home because my grandson is autistic, but on the spectrum. He's intelligent. He's able to function. You don't even know he doesn't even know he's autistic.
And one of the things is, the earlier we pick these conditions, especially when it's mild, and especially when there are focal deficits, for example, not reading body, those can be corrected by teaching
Hmm.
and teaching them and practice with them again and again as they get older and adulthood. Some of them you won't even be able to say they have autism.
So repetition is good.
Repetition, being able to recognize where the deficit is and then working on it.
Right.
But again, early intervention is one of the keys.
Right. Right.
The sooner we intervene, and just because we're saying autism doesn't mean that it's going to be autism all the time, right? I mean,
Right. Right.
so I don't, sometimes people get stuck with the word, and it is such a hard, as parents, sometimes to accept, because this kid is doing everything what other kids are doing except something different.
Right. Right.
And they can, I've heard he's an old soul, which is great, or he just has limited interest, he just likes this, which is great. But when you cannot communicate with peers and build relationship, that affects your self-esteem, it affects your self-worth. You don't learn how to problem solve, conflict resolutions, everything that goes on with learning how to communicate with peers.
Right. And I think that brings back to I don't know if Reverend Randall, if you mentioned that or not, but it brings back even some bullying
So
components,
much
if you will.
common.
So much bullying
And sometimes it's misreading of what the kids are doing. I recently saw a kid in my practice. This kid, very bright kid, little. In the past, we would have called him Asperger's. Now we don't use the word Asperger's. There are two different categories. Either we say autism spectrum disorder, and there are
Right.
different levels, or we call them social pragmatic. And so, this kid, one of his best friends was horseplaying with him, and he asked him to stop. The kid didn't stop. That's what boys do when they're
Right.
13 and 14.
Right.
And he beat because he thought he was being disrespectful.
Wow.
So it's all white and black.
Wow.
He couldn't understand that the kid was pushing him just because he likes him, and that's what boys do. They talk mean and they put you down, but that doesn't mean they're being mean to you.
Right. Right.
And so again, this kid struggling at school now. The school is suspending, and he doesn't understand why, because this kid, he protected himself. And so you can see how these things can progress into where it leads into other aspects of your life.
Right.
But then you can have the other side where you have a nonverbal kid who has a low IQ and would never be independent.
Right. Reverend Randall, what else did you experience with what you were seeing? You're with us? What else did you experience with?
Well, like I said, they're very intelligent, and a lot of them are musically inclined. They can really play either the guitar or the drums or even the piano. They are musically inclined, and if we just take the time to listen to them and engage them in conversation, you'd be surprised. They can really hold you in a good conversation if they feel comfortable with you.
Absolutely. And you're bringing up something so important, that these kids can have very normal life like just you and I. They can work and hold jobs and become professionals. There is nothing lacking other than the way their brain communicates with other people. And just because it does it differently doesn't make it bad or good. It's just different. And if we learn how this kid communicates and how he understands the information that is given to him and he's processing, these kids are normal kids.
And I guess the sad part about it is when others, maybe even those peers at that age group, hear that word, oh, he's autistic, or he has a problem, or he's not seeming like, or he or she is not understanding what's going on, then here goes those what's the word I want? Those just little comments, the things that come up that are binding, so to speak.
Right. And sometimes, they use very derogatory ways of explaining that. But again, that's why I don't like labels.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why we can keep coming back. What difference does it make if it's autism or if it's whatever. If we can get this kid from here A to B and get him to be successful and productive, I mean, what difference does it make what it
Exactly.
is?
Exactly. I mean, because
I'm going to hang up and let someone else call in if they want to.
feel free to keep adding. You know, so your comments, your statements are very appropriate, and we value them. Of course, we value you too. So you know that already. So it's just putting it out there. You already know that. So feel free to stick around or call back in or whatever you want to do. I am going to put the number out there again if anyone is interested in. Not
Okay, I'll call back in and a little later.
Okay, we'll do that. We again, we appreciate you doing that. So we'll talk to
Well,
you.
I'm on the line. I'm also preparing for my Bible study at 7, but I'm on the line listening.
Okay, so you got about 30 minutes for that too. So,
Right.
yeah.
Thank you for calling.
Thank you. We thank you for coming in to give up your time.
That's right.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Okay, so again, we're here on Backpage with Dr. Deepti Bhasin. We're inviting you to call in and talk with her to ask questions. The subject tonight is we're talking about autism. And we our whole point is to cover and try to dispel any confusion or to make things easier for you to understand if you do have a family member or a child who is autistic. So don't waste your time. Here's a good time to call in and talk to someone who can help you. 478-250-1444. Again, 478-250-1444. Don't be scared. Pick up the phone and call and ask your questions. That's what she's here for, to help you. So, and she's so willingly and freely giving up herself to do just that. So reach out and talk. Let's talk. So I guess if I had to ask you again, I guess as parents or caregivers or teachers or what have you, or even lay people, we need to be able to learn the signs of autism.
And you start seeing signs as early as 18 months.
Right. I was reading that, and that's amazing.
That's amazing. Usually most kids can be easily diagnosed and picked by the pediatrician by the age of 3 or 4.
Right.
And again, remember, early intervention is the key. The early we can get them into therapy, either speech therapy or occupation, whatever their needs are, the sooner we can start implementing those programs for the kids, the lesser the severity of the symptoms and the deficits definitely go down.
Wow. I was looking through some information that I had copied and put in, and it was talking about the signs. It was just covering some different areas too. 18 months just blew me away. Just hearing that. We got another caller again. Hello, caller. Welcome to Backpage. Who are we speaking to?
Greg Rutland.
Greg Rutland. Why do I know that name? Greg Rutland. Where do I know you from?
Wow, that I hope it hasn't come down to this. Greg Jackson, I know who Greg Rutland is.
I know. I'm just messing with you.
How you doing, my brother?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I just wanted to say congratulations. I've kind of been following you on your back page, and you hit a topic today that was dear to my heart. So, I think you're doing great work, and want you to continue.
Well, I appreciate that. We got some catching up to do. I think this is Dr. B.
Yes.
This is one of my dear brothers, fraternity brothers, and we went through some stuff together years ago. So we have a bond that cannot be broken.
Thank you for calling. Thank you for calling.
Do you want to? Huh?
Yeah, I actually do want to speak to her.
Go ahead. Ask her anything you want to ask her. She's here for you. Go ahead and talk to her. Dr. B, this is Greg Rutland. Gregory Rutland.
Okay.
He's up in Ohio.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, I have an aunt in Ohio. I'm good. Thank you for asking.
I'm doing well. Thank you. I wanted to. I saw a text that Reverend Jackson sent out, and my grandson actually has autism, and he lives in New Orleans, and we actually are kind of wondering some things. He's 12 years old, and he just had an incident in school where he kind of said something that he wanted to do harm to himself. So I'm actually flying to New Orleans over the weekend to, just kind of assess the situation. But, it's in a young person like that, because he's starting to either hear things or imagine things. And my wife is also a healthcare provider. She's saying that he may be undergoing some schizophrenia. Is that the right term for this?
Schizophrenia is a chronic mental illness, and yes, it is an illness. Yes, but no, I don't think it's very, very rare for a 12-year-old to have schizophrenia. It's 1 in 5 million. So probably, okay, so let's talk about how common is autism in United States. According to CDC in 2021, 1 in every 44 kids was diagnosed with autism. That's a lot. And it's a range, right? You can have a range where it's very, very mild, where I may have some quirkiness or some odd behaviors or some very distinct, rigid thinking, to where I'm nonverbal and my, very low functioning intellectually and probably would never live independently, ever. So it's a range, so most kids, when they start having trouble, especially in middle school, are very high functioning autistic kids. And that's the age group when we talk about development, is where they started relating and building relationship with peers. Remember, if you remember, Mr. Adler, when you were younger, at some stage, your friends were way more important than your parents were.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It didn't matter what your parents said. You always felt like your friends knew way more than your parents did. And that's the stage which we call is latent stage, which is starts somewhere between 9-10. They start building relationship with same sex and goes into the early preteen. And from that stage, it goes to where they start noticing opposite sex. And it's all about propagation, right? I mean, human race would have died if we didn't have these things built up in development. So at that age, what happens is when the kids are started building relationships and start building friendships, when you have a kid who has a hard time understanding and communicating like everybody else, and I'm going to use the word normal in quote unquote, because what is normal, we don't know. But normal for that age group, that kid starts being picked up. Because maybe they didn't understand that when somebody threw a ball, he wasn't being aggressive. They were trying to be friends. And this kid gets upset with them because they felt they were being teased, right? So there's small things that what they should get as a body language or nonverbal, they're missing out. And then they start being more sensitive, or they start getting bullied. They start thinking there's something wrong with them because they're not being invited, or they can't build relationships or have friends. And then what comes in is self-esteem. I am not worth it. I'm doing something wrong. There's something wrong with me. And it's not uncommon for me to see in my practice, actually, that age group that you're talking about do come with me with thoughts of self-harm, because they feel so hopeless and they're feeling like nobody's understanding and they can't do anything to control what's going on with them, and they don't understand. Their automatic thought is maybe, which is not how it should be, but it's not uncommon. I also want to tell you, this is the age group that actually you want to take things like self-harm or threat of self-harm very, very, very seriously. It is the number 2 cause of death in this age group. Number 1 being accidental deaths, meaning motor vehicle accidents, drowning, gunshots. Intentional death, number 1 cause in this age group is self-harm. And so when a kid at this age group talks about hurting themselves or feel like they don't want to be on this earth or don't want to live anymore, we have to, as adults, take it very, very seriously.
Right. Right. I guess that's the warning signs, as we call them.
Right.
Or they're reaching out for.
They're saying
help.
something is wrong. They're
Right,
saying something. I'm not doing well. There's something that is bothering me, and it may not be necessarily depression. It may be being bullied,
Right.
and this is reaching out for help. So I'm so glad that you're going to reach out and see and visit your grandson and figure it out. But please, again, very unlikely that it would be schizophrenia. I'm not evaluated him, but very, very unlikely that it would be schizophrenic. More likely that, he's been under stress and there's some things that are going on in his life that he doesn't understand and cannot control. And he's struggling to manage them. And the way he's letting you know is by using wrong vocabulary. That is the one thing I would start correcting is, honey, instead of saying you want to kill yourself, why don't you say you're upset or you're mad or you're angry? Because what you're trying to tell us is there is something bothering you.
So, and with that thought in mind, I'm kind of wondering as a grandparent, because he did mention some of the things you said, that he's feeling anxious and anxiety,
right,
and those kind of things.
Right.
So, what exactly should be any parent or any loved one? What should, as I kind of visit over the weekend, what kind of things should I be listening for? And, and we're in a unique situation because his father is actually a police officer, so he deals with a lot of people in this category. But it's probably, as it gets closer to home, you may not see some of the signs yourself.
Right. You're asking such an important question, and I'm so glad you're asking that. I think lots of families need to hear. So I think if a child walks in and says, I don't want to live, or I want to kill myself, or I want to hurt myself, that as a parent is a very, very upsetting thought, right? I mean, no parents want to hear that. So number one thing I would do is get a professional help. I would want to make sure that this kid is safe. As I joke to my kids when I see them in my clinic, I say, I can deal with anything and everything, but I can't deal if you hurt yourself and something bad happens.
Right.
I cannot bring you back.
Right.
The rest, everything is fixable. Right? And so safety becomes number one priority. Okay. So one of the concepts that we have in our medicine is you never treat your family members.
You hear that, didn't you?
Right?
Oh, yeah, I do.
And it's funny you bring it. My father-in-law is a surgeon, and my husband, when he was a kid, he got injured, and my father-in-law said, okay, let me check, and he's like, no, get me a good doctor. So again, and as a parent, I have kids that I would minimize and say, oh, you're having sore throat, just have some Motrin and go. So we try to minimize, or or the kid may think that we're not taking it that seriously, and so by rule, in medicine, we try not to treat our family members or loved ones.
Right.
Because we may miss something, or we may not understand and minimize or over-exaggerate things.
Exactly.
So, again, I think the same concept goes in when you're dealing, his father, who's a police officer, who deals with these things, and he probably sees way more worse things.
Right.
It's very hard to say, oh my God, is this one of my kids? It's going to be like. So either you can become more defensive about it and say no, or you become angry and upset, or you get anxious because that's not the route you need to go. So I tell parents in a situation like that, you're not a cop here.
Right.
You are a father. If you have to physically take a big step back and deal and handle things as a father, that's what you need to do.
That's good advice, right?
That's good advice. Okay. Well, that gives me something to at least work with. So it's a blessing. It's a blessing to be able to talk to you. And Greg, it's a blessing that you sent that text out today, because that was on my mind for the last 2 days.
Well, the good Lord works and does things when we need them. So let me do this for you too. Dr. B is fantastic, and I would be remiss if I didn't give you her information. Even if you want to call and talk to her and do a virtual something, just to talk to her and she's wonderful with youth and children. She's just a wonderful person, period. So let me give you her phone number, if you don't mind. That way, if you want to reach out to her just to ask them questions, because you've talked to her now, and you've established a contact, or even a relationship right now, because you've shared something dear and near to your heart. And it's nothing better than getting the right advice, the right guidance, and just the right information to help push back those kind of problems that come up. And they do come up. They come up on a regular. And just as she was saying earlier, just having the right resources means a lot. So let me give you her number.
I'm ready for that information. Thank you.
Okay. It's I'm just going to give you her name. So I'm going to give you everything. Her name is, well, as we affectionately call her, Dr. B. Dr. Deepti, Deepti Bhasin, Bhasin, MD, of course. Her phone number is 478. I got two numbers. I'm just going to give you this one because you can reach her on this one. 478-333-3058. And she'll remember who you are. You talk to her, and she's got
right. And just give a reference. Sometimes I don't get messages immediately,
Uh-huh.
but if you will let him know that I spoke to him, and the front desk would get me, because they're the ones who get the messages firsthand.
Right. So you heard that, right?
And I tell you what may happen is I may have, because I know my son and his wife is not having anybody they can speak to. So if it won't be me, it may be one of my family members, because I'm trying to establish a counseling relationship.
That's good.
What I'm hoping to do.
That's that good grandfather
and that's
thing.
great. But also New Orleans have lots of resources. They have medical center, and they have residency programs and fellowship programs that actually you could reach out. And most of those programs are actually very, very educational, because you're seeing somebody in training. So they have one or two doctors who are supervising them. So there are several resources, and I'll be happy to talk to you off the line, or whenever you call and talk about resources. But my biggest recommendation would be getting him evaluated, making sure he's safe, having a plan in case it happens again, and then pursuing whatever is leading to him feeling this way.
Excellent information.
Well, thank you for your wise counseling. You've helped me, and once again, both of you be blessed. And it's great what you're doing, Reverend Jackson. And I hope to talk to you soon.
We need to do that. We got some making up to do. Matter of fact, and I'll share with when we talk. Come March and April, I'll be at 7 and then 8 grandchildren. So.
Oh wow!
So time is
You're
moving.
getting busy.
I know, and I love every minute of it.
Enjoy them. They grow up so quickly.
They do. And Greg, I don't know if you heard the part of the show. I have a grandson that's younger. He's 7, but he's autistic as well. But just more of him to love is what it is. So he's
that's what it becomes, Greg. And it's not about us anymore. It's about them.
Absolutely. And my other biggest thing is, just because somebody has autism doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't.
So let's not narrow them down to that. It's like having a heart attack or blood pressure. Exactly. We never say, oh, he's diabetic.
Yeah, we don't.
So why, just because I think differently, or maybe I communicate a little different, what difference does it make?
It doesn't. And again, that
people
goes
are
back
different.
to just so much more to love.
And he's going to find his people. I promise you, he's going to find his people where he can connect, and it'll be fine.
Oh yeah, and it's a joy seeing that happen. Yeah. It really is. Yeah. So, let me do a cutoff right quick. Rutland, you owe me a phone call. I still don't have enough sense to go to bed at night, so you can call me. You got my number still. So either you call me.
We both got each other's numbers, so let's make sure we use that.
Yeah, we need to do that. We need to do that. So I'm just thankful that you called in. That made my day hearing your voice when you called in. That brought a whole bunch of extra joy this evening. So I'm thankful.
All right, my brother. Hey, you keep up the good work. And Doctor, thank you so much for your counsel.
Thank you. You're welcome. And thank you for calling.
And we'll talk to you soon.
Greg, I'll talk to you soon. Okay.
sounds good. Take care, brother.
All right, now. Bye.
All right. He was right next to me in college when we were doing our fraternity pledge, and he was, if we had to go in numbers, he was number 4, I was number 5.
Wow, yeah.
And some of the things that we went to and the bonds that we built and all, and it's a wonderful life.
You may not talk to him for 20 years, but when he calls, it's like yesterday.
It is.
I mean, those are the relationships. That was like,
It is.
You never, and yes, those are the best relationships.
Yeah, because I don't know if you could see when I realized who it was, my face lit up.
It did.
When
you recognized who it was.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I would not expect somebody from Ohio to call, so I understand.
Yeah, he's good people. So again, we're here on Backpage with
praying
Dr.
for
B.
him and his grandson.
Yes, we do. Keep you and your grandson in prayers, and Merritt too. So
yes,
just keep you all in prayers, because you're family too. We're all family. So we're all God's children. So that's what we do. Again, you're listening to Backpage on WDDO, the Glory 107.9 on the FM dial, and as well as a host of other social media platforms. We're thankful that you're here with us. If you want to send us an email to talk to us, or if you have some specific questions for Dr. B, she has more to cover still. We're talking about autism. There's more to cover on that, and we still have to delve into adult concern.
And adult autism, which is also a new thing. Remember, we didn't start talking about autism for at least last 15, 20 years.
Right.
And so these kids that had that didn't get treatment, now are adult, and some of them are very functioning but struggling in their personal relationships or in professional relationships, or certain things that they don't understand.
Right.
For example, several years ago, and I won't tell how many years because that tells you how old I am.
You're still a baby.
Oh,
you look, you look like a baby. No, you look like a baby. You look.
I would take that. But I saw a school teacher who had married. His wife had passed away, and his wife had a caregiver because she was on terminal disease, and married her.
Mm-hmm.
And the biggest complaint they came up with that he cannot hug or show affection.
Wow, that's got to be hard.
Right, and the woman he married was very affectionate, and in the past her relationship had been more passionate. It didn't mean that he didn't love her.
Right.
But his way of expressing
was totally different. Yeah,
right?
It's different.
And so is it something, we need to treat with medication? Absolutely not, because this is how his brain is wired.
Right.
So if you can, in a situation like this, if you educate, like this is how your brain works,
mm-hmm.
right? And yes, you wouldn't get the signal that your wife might want you to hold her hand or, kiss her or, give a compliment, then maybe the communication could be where the other person can start.
Right.
And initiate that and train the person who struggles with communication and saying, okay, that's a sign. That means you need to do X, Y, and Z. Right.
And then out of habit, that becomes a part of you. When that habit comes in, and it becomes a part of who you are at that point.
Exactly.
So it's a good thing. But again, if you want to email, what time is it? We got about 16 minutes. Dr. B will be back with us again because we got so much to cover. And I decided we want to cover everything. We want to do total health, and there's a lot to total health. But in covering total health, we have to start at the top. We can't just start in the middle and expect to get anywhere. So we got to start at the top. If you want to email us, you can email us at Backpage, all lowercase, case sensitive, lowercase, Backpage 2018 or 2018 at windstream.net. Again, that's Backpage, BACKPAG 2018 2018 at windstream.net. And the plan this year is to even grow the program, because we've determined that we really need about an hour and a half to cover everything. We're not stuck, but we're at an hour now. So if you choose, you want to sponsor us too. We accept sponsorships. And you can send to, and I'm new at this, trying to figure this out, Cash App, $Backpage 2018. So again, if you want to help sponsor the show, the Showtime, through Cash App, $Backpage 2018. Send the emails in, join in with us, make the phone calls. Again, the number here is 478-250-1444. We're here with the wonderful Dr. B, sharing all of her knowledge and and freely sharing her knowledge right here on the air with you. If you're local and you're having some concerns with your children, with your youth, or even with yourself, reach out to her and let her help you. There's nothing wrong with that. As we said before when we first brought you on, there's nothing absolutely wrong with seeking help when you need help.
Absolutely. Brain is part of any of the other organ, the most important organ.
It is. And I'll piggyback off of something you said about, we talk about diabetes and we don't call it. Okay, so when your back hurts, you go to the orthopedic doctor. There's no question when your back hurts, you go to orthopedics. When something else is going on, if you're having heart problems, you go see the cardiologist. If you're having breathing, respiratory problems, you go see the pulmonologist. So
and you don't hide that, and you don't
at all.
You're open, and so why not seek your help for your issues that you're struggling with?
Exactly.
Again, yes.
And let me, and I've done this before. Let me just be transparent for a minute too, because I don't mind sharing. After my hip, and I had the pulmonary embolism and spent a lot of time in the hospital, post-traumatic stress and some issues, some concern, anxiety. Does it bother me still sometimes? Yes. But guess what? And I'm saying it right here on the air, and I don't care who hears me, because I'm sharing it, hoping that it might just shake you if you need some help. I sought some counsel. I sought some help, because I could not improve where I was without seeking some counsel, some help. So there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with you seeing about yourself. It's okay to see about yourself. So once again, 478-250-1444. Let us hear from you. We got about 13 minutes left. We're here with Dr. Bhasin. This is for you. This program is for you, to help you, to provide information, community information, or just help you improve your life and those of the lives of those that you love. So, Dr. B, I think we had mentioned, we were talking about the ages. You said 18 months. I'm looking here in this information that I pulled off. Of course, mine's not as good as yours, no doubt. But it's talking about, make sure I'm reading it right. It's talking about 6 months. It's by 6 months, if you notice.
You could have, depending on how severe the symptoms are. For example, when you call out a baby's name, they start responding at a very young age.
Right.
One of the early signs that you start getting worried is when they're not responding to their name.
Right.
So we look for, we do the hearing test, which usually we do during the birth and all too. But it is not uncommon for an autistic kid not to respond to their name when the mom or the dad calls out, or they're having fun, and it almost seems like they don't hear you.
Right. It's just that, not that distance there, but it's like they just continue playing or doing what they're doing, because the focus is not there on listening to what you're saying.
Right.
They're more caught up and focused on what they're doing.
So 6 months is more severe.
Right.
Usually for higher functioning kids would, I think it would be, and you don't want to overdiagnose that, right? And because development is stages.
Right.
And certain things we attain at 6 months, certain things we attain at 4 months, and certain things we attain at 8 months. Just because a kid hasn't attained it at 6 doesn't mean he's autistic. It may be that it might be 6 months, 2 weeks.
Right.
And so it's development, attaining your motor skills, your social skills, your language skills is a range. So you want to be careful that you're not overdiagnosing. Right. Because it's a label. You don't want to.
It is.
It's anxiety for parents, right? And so you want to, as a professional, or if you are concerned as a parent that you're seeing your child is not doing certain things, bring it up to the professional.
Exactly.
And then let them decide what's a good time. They may say, wait for another month and see what happens.
Right.
Or wait till a year and see what happens.
And I like what you said about seeing the professional, because our normal is, as humans, our normal is, let me just, ask Cousin Jane or somebody down the street what she thinks or whatever, and she's going to say something different or something totally off the wall.
Or go Google it.
Yeah, which I deal with my daughter with Google. I tell her, stop Googling everything, because Google is not exacting information.
So I tease medical students, or when I have residents, I say, when you start medical school, the first year you've had all the disease possible. Anything that happens in your body, you read, you pick it up and say, oh, I have this, and I have this, and I have this. And that's very common, what we call in first year medical student. Google is an extension of that.
It is. It is, and I have to chuckle sometimes. She gets mad at me. I have to chuckle with my daughter when she does that, because she will Google stuff and say, "Well, it says this." What it says. I said, "Don't listen to that." Or even sometimes some friends will say some
Right.
stuff that's just
Right.
totally off the wall. And it's
Right.
like, where'd you get that from?
And if you want to research it, make sure the sites and the websites are correct, and
Right.
they're not promoting their products, or the information that who's providing is a person of authority.
Exactly.
Some of the websites for healthcare would be NIMH
Uh-huh.
for mental health, or NIH, which is National Institute of Health.
Right.
Those are federally run agencies. Every organization, every subspecialty and specialty have their own organization. Like, I'm a psychiatrist, I'm a pediatric psychiatrist, and I'm a forensic psychiatrist. I'm a
Mhm.
member of APA, which is American Psychiatric Association. I'm also a member of American Child and Adolescent Psychiatry, and I'm also a member of, and those websites are run by professionals.
Exactly.
So make sure when you're getting information, you're getting from the right side. And just because something looks like when you're reading may not be that.
Yeah, because I've noticed a lot of times you see this information that's posted on those sites or on Google or
Right.
whatever, and it's really just somebody else, just another lay person, just posting some so-called experiences that they
Or
had.
their opinions, or
Exactly.
their and the other part is, just because it's on the TV doesn't mean it's right.
Exactly. Oh, TV has
Or
gone
internet,
there. TV, and if I could just cut it off sometimes, and if I suggest
Electronics.
NIH, National Institute of Health is a good resource. I recommend a lot of times to people Emory, the Mayo Clinic, the
Mayo
Cleveland Clinic.
They all have wonderful educational
Right.
sites.
Go to the places that can give you accurate, solid, sound
Right.
information.
But don't self-diagnose.
Exactly.
Good to know, but then go to a professional and make sure that you're doing it right way.
Right, because you end up doing better you can do yourself harm, I believe,
Yes.
by not getting the right information and just settling. And we do that too much. Even as humans, we
Right.
settle for too much, and
Or overreading into it.
we do.
Some things are normal. I mean, you're talking about human body, which is like a machine. Some wear and tear is going to happen. Some things are not going to work exactly the same like you expect.
Exactly.
And so just because you have one thing that, say twitching, doesn't make it seizure.
Right.
But so again, don't neglect, do not overlook, but don't overread into it.
Right. Because that's where you fall in and run into problems. So we don't need to do any of that. So it's so much to learn here. I learned a lot, which I need refreshers on still about autism and what have you. I always say that life is a continuing education platform, I guess you can say, or process, because you never can stop or not learn enough. You can learn so much by reading appropriate information, by listening, by seeking professional gilded help. That's what you want to do. You want to do that so you have yourself not set up for nonsense.
You definitely want to do research. You definitely want to take charge of your condition, but not everything that is posted is accurate.
Right.
So,
Yeah, because I think sometimes, we can look at what comes up, and I know you as a professional do that too. You look out, it's like, what in the world is this? Where did this come from? Or who's even trying to post or share this nonsense like this?
Right.
And those are the things we get caught up in.
Right.
I mean, that goes. I won't say it. I almost said something about something my daughter shared with me about one of her friends and vaccines, and I'm not going to get into that. I mean,
vaccines are important, especially for babies.
Yeah.
They are protective, and I know people have rights, and it is a personal choice.
It is.
And I respect that. But again, when we are making an opinion, make sure we do the right.
Exactly. And when you make that opinion in those cases too, make sure you're not infringing on someone else's.
Right.
We talk about freedom this and freedom that, and even in our own personal health care, we have a lot of choices and a lot of freedoms, but we need to make sure that we don't infringe on others as well. That comes up and ends up causing a problem for all of us. So.
Yes, absolutely.
But our listeners have gotten quiet. We've had some good responses from Reverend Mabel Randall, Pastor Mabel Randall. Had some good information from her, some good comments from her, from Greg Rutland in Ohio, I got to say this. I was trying not to say it, but Greg Rutland, a member of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated.
wow.
So I had to say, I wasn't going to say it, but I had
Are
to
you
say it.
bragging? Because
I'm
that
bragging.
means that you are
I'm really
also?
bragging. I'm bragging, boasting, and shouting it out too. So just had to do that.
You have to. That is a braggable.
It is. So life is good. Life is good. As we're running out of time, we'll talk again offline to figure out what we're going to do next.
Right.
We got so much to cover. I want to cover a lot of this because I've seen a lot. You've seen a lot, and in our everyday life, we see people who have needs. And again, that's the purpose of Backpage, is to provide some kind of avenue or some kind of information trail for people who are in need but don't know where to turn. So that's really important. And we plan on going all the way through the mind as much as we can. The mind, the brain, we plan on going through that. We plan on talking about your heart conditions. We plan on talking about some dental concerns. As a matter of fact, we need to ask your husband about if you would talk to him, and then we call him to talk or something. Okay. I'd love to have him on too, because oral health is very important as well. So it's so much we have to cover, because we want you to be healthy. We want you to be around for a while. We want you to be successful in how you live your life. I think I hear our music coming on in the background too, our outro music. But Dr. B, it's always a pleasure.
It's a pleasure
to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
It just warms the evening. It warms the station. It makes things so nice, and it just warms my heart even more when I'm looking at these comments that were made to you. I love them. I mean, this one just does me. From hello to right, agreeing with you, and then the big one was, we love you and you were so compassionate.
Thank you.
That's a big heart right there. So once again, you've been listening to Backpage on WDDO The Glory 107.9. We've had Dr. Deepti Bhasin, Dr. B, with us here again this week, and we've enjoyed the time. Don't know where the time has gone, but you have a few words as we wrap down.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for doing this. I think this is so needed.
It is. It
is so needed.
And it's been a blessing to me to be able to do that and share. This is one way I can share back with people again. And people say some crazy stuff sometimes. I was looking at a crazy text a little bit ago that I was sent, but we gotta be resolute in what we're doing.
Right, and we can focus on negative.
Exactly.
It is what it is. It's a big elephant. We solve the problem by breaking the elephant, deal with one little thing, and not get overwhelmed.
That's right. So with that, we say good night to you. Thank you for joining us on Backpage. We look forward to having you again with us next week at 6 o'clock on WDDO The Glory 107.9. Don't be afraid to call in. We're here for you. That's the whole purpose of this show, is to be here for you, provide those things that you might miss otherwise. So for all of our listeners, good night. To Dr. B, good night. Thank you again for being here. Thank you for your willingness to serve. And God bless you all. And we'll talk to you next week at 6.
Good night.
Thank you for listening to Backpage with your host, Reverend Gregory Jackson, Associate Minister at Mount Moriah Missionary Baptist Church. Backpage is community talk that examines community issues with the intent of shining a new light to those affected, concerned, and desiring better. Join us next week at 6 p.m. for Backpage with Reverend Gregory Jackson.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of the Glory 980 AM, the Glory Media Group, LLC, WDDO AM, its staff, management, or advertisers, but are the views and opinions of the participants of the broadcast.